Welcome to our Merlin Bird ID, and this is where we're going to use an app to help identify species. So what you can do to help out your students is you can start by opening Google on your desktop, and that way you can show them birds that you wouldn't be seeing in the classroom. And also have your side sync synced up so you can see the app as well on your desktop. So because we're not going to be able to see a bird in the classroom, let's Google one so that we get a picture. So the first one we're going to start with is a pretty simple and common species in Winnipeg, but one that students might not necessarily be familiar with. So let's look up a nuthatch, and let's find a picture of the white-breasted nuthatch. So you can bring it up, you can clearly see the colors, the shape, and the size. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to just go over to the app, and this is exactly what they would be seeing on their phone or their iPad, and you want to start. Now it's going to ask you for GPS as an option, but we're going to click no because we can manually input where we are. So in the history, it shows that we have Winnipeg there as well as Rennie, but if where you were birding wasn't there, you can type it in to the search bar and then click your destination. After that, what you're going to want to do is you can scroll through the month or the date to when you actually saw the bird species. So let's go to a date about a week ago, February 14th. So now we'll go next. And what it does is it's going to show you the size of the bird. So it goes through different varieties that you're going to see. And on the bottom, if you do click them, it tells you exactly what you're going to see. So the smallest one here is sparrow sized or smaller. Then you're going to go to between a sparrow and a robin. Then you're going to go about to robin size, between a robin and a crow, crow sized, between a crow and a goose, and goose sized or larger. And so once you actually look at your bird, so we'll go back to our internet picture here as our bird that we're spotting, you're going to want to click the size that matches it. So here let's click robin size. The next section is you're going to want to try to find the main colors that match the bird. So looking over at our bird, we can clearly see a black head. So let's make sure we click black. And we can clearly see some gray blue on the wings, and we've also got that big white front chest. So we've got all three of those colors picked. Now we'll go next, and it says, where is the bird? So what you're going to do is you're going to look where it is. So is it eating at a feeder, swimming or wading, on the ground, in the trees or bushes? Is it on a fence or a wire, or soaring or flying? So the one that we see in the picture, like the bird that we're seeing outside, is sitting on the ground. So that's the one we click. And what it does is it's going to give us a list of possible birds. And if we go to the upper right-hand corner and click the list view, you can see them a little bit easier. So what you do is you basically scroll through these until you find the bird that matches the one that you see. So if you don't see them, it gives you quite a few more options. But then you see one that's very similar or almost the same thing, white-breasted nuthatch, and we can see that they match from the picture or from the actual bird species that you'd be seeing outside. And what you do then is you click on the bird, and it gives you a quick little details and facts about the bird. So they're small, they have that white, black, and that grayish blue color. They're very common to be found around trees and branches, and it gives you that little bit of detail that might help you identify the bird a little bit better. Now, the other thing you can do to help you identify is you can go to sounds. You can click song, and you can actually identify it by what you're hearing. So there's another song. Or you can go to calls. Now the other thing you can do is you can click on a map, and what it's going to do is it's going to give you a distribution of the bird that can really help you to identify if that's the species you're looking for. So now we know that yes, we have identified the white-breasted nuthatch, and it's a really simple way that students can work on species identification and then easily work it into other aspects of the ecosystem curriculum. But that was an easy one to find. Sometimes you don't necessarily have the bird that you're looking for come up. So what you want to do, look for a bird that isn't as common and it might be a little harder to identify. So let's look up a great horned owl. So again, we're going to try to find a picture. And here we can clearly see one. We get the colors, we get the shape, we get the size. And so now let's go through it and do the exact same steps. We'll try to identify where we saw it, when, the size, the color, and what they were doing. So do we want to save? No, we want to start again. So start bird ID. And again, we do not need to have the GPS because we can just enter it manually. And Winnipeg is saved, so that'll be easy for your students and it'll save them some time. So let's not change the date. This was something that we saw currently right now. So click next. Again, you want to try to identify the size, and I'd say an owl would be between a crow and a goose. And so once you have that clicked, you're going to go to the next color part, and it only lets you choose 3 colors. Now there's clearly multiple colors in some birds, even this one, but you want to choose the most prominent. So we do have some white, we've got some black, and we've got some brown. There is also some gray, but we'll see if you can find it using this. You can always go back and change your settings with that back button in the top left corner. But let's go next and see if we can find the bird. So this one looks like he's in trees or bushes. There's clearly a branch in the picture. So we'll click that and eliminate any other possibilities. And we'll see if it finds our bird. And again, if we go to that list view in the top right-hand corner, it makes it a little easier to see. But it doesn't look like an owl is one of those birds that the ID is matching. So in the upper right-hand corner, we want to go to Home and exit again. We don't want to save. And if you go down below Start Bird ID, you can go Browse All Birds. And there's a categories that show you all the different types of birds that are listed in the app. But if you know kind of what you were looking for, hence an owl, you could type in owl and it would give you common owls within North America, because the birding app is for North American species. So again, do the same thing. You go and look to find a matching picture, and we found one that's very similar. And again, you're going to get some of those details that tell you that they are a very common species. It tells you kind of a little bit about where you might be able to find them in wooded areas in urban settings. So it would probably be common that we saw it. But again, if we're outside, we could listen to calls. So those are just 3 examples of the different calls, but again, we could also go to the map, and clearly their distribution is within Winnipeg, so it's a really good sign, again, that that's the bird that you've identified. So now you've done everything you needed to do to identify those birds, if it went through the steps or if you needed to Google it. And when students are done this, they can take it further and scaffold to do research projects about certain birds. And it's a program that they can use outside of school, which is why it's really helpful. So what you want to do is make sure that you exit the programs, and then you can take it from there. Thanks for watching.